Welcome Facebook to another show of Let's Talk About Ice. Here from Queensland headquarters, we are on the couch. We have a very special guest that is about to share his story with you. And don't forget, guys, please share these posts because you don't know who actually needs to hear the story. You don't know who needs the support or the help out there. So by posting this video on your Facebook page, somebody that you might know or that's within your network that is suffering quietly may reach out for help. So please post this on your Facebook page today, right now, if you could, so that they can have a chance to ask questions live as we go along on the show today. But before we actually start and before I introduce the special guest tonight, I'm really excited that here in the studio, in the office, we have one of our really loved and special ambassadors and also corporate sponsors. So you've heard me mention Brett from KB Supplies, Brett from KB Supplies, who is one of our corporate sponsors and has helped us produce our Neo brand, and amongst other things. And they are setting up an amazing event which is going to be held on March the 9th. So guys, say hello to Brett. This is Brett.
Hello.
Brett, tell us about this event. I am so excited and I don't know what to wear. I am just like, I heard today that there's going to be a prize for best dressed.
Correct.
And I'm like, oh no, I've never been to one of these things before and it's going to be in a corporate box.
It is.
And what's happening?
9th of March, we've got the charity race day. We're going to have everything that you ever want on a race day. We're going to have fun, we're going to have raffles, we're going to have auctions, we're going to have special guests attending the day. A part of the race day, we're going to be having memorabilia for auction. We've got Winks memorabilia, champion racehorse Winks, now 30 wins in a row.
Wow.
Can't beat it.
That's awesome.
Racing again this Saturday, hopefully she wins again. But yeah, no, it'll be a fun day.
Awesome. I've heard some things. I think Jason Maskell's coming and going to be riding with an ARC jersey, is that right?
Well, Jason will be riding on the day. Hopefully he'll get to ride one of the horses in the race that might have the AIC race colours on. So the race colours will be used by number one in every race, so the top weight in every race. So hopefully Jason gets to ride one of them. Would be fantastic.
Awesome.
But we'll also be having Tony Allen coming from New Zealand, Melbourne Cup winning jockey.
Wow.
Coming back from addiction from many years ago, and he's back riding at age 50, made a comeback, and he's flying again. So
that's amazing. And I know that Kevin Campion's going to be there. And we've got a couple of other ambassadors, Ian Jacobs, the World Kickboxing Champion, and Corey Norman, who can't be there, but they have actually produced a video. They're some of our ambassadors as well for ARC. I know that Brad Vicali is going to be there, and AJ, and Brad has been talking to Jeff Horn.
that's right.
And I heard that there's like a special auction prize. Tell me about it.
We caught up with Jeff Horn. Unfortunately, Jeff couldn't make it on the day, but he's really keen to support the charity, and he's fighting for the cause. And he wore a cap and a t-shirt, and we did an interview with him, so we'll play it live on the day. But yeah, he gave us memorabilia, gloves. We'll have a t-shirt and cap, everything to auction off, signed by Jeff. And yeah, we'll have a little video clip on the day.
Wow. So people can still get tickets up until Sunday night, or is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Sunday night. And the tickets, right, guys, look at this. You get 5 hours of drink package in a corporate box, buffet food and dessert, live entertainment. So we've got some people from the radio that are going to be emceeing. And
Yes,
we've got
AJ.
Yep.
AJ from former 92.5 morning show. AJ and Brad Vicali are going to host the event.
Wow.
So
it's going to be so much fun. And we've got the Black Caviar memorabilia,
Correct.
2 nights accommodation at Corinne Cove Island Resort, so it's like a little holiday. Oh my goodness. And Winks memorabilia that I know that there's a couple of really amazing Winks jackets, part of that memorabilia.
So we got Winks, correct, we got Winks vest jackets. We've got 26 items for the Winks memorabilia. So we've got everything from golf balls right through to limited edition print of Winks, all signed. So
there's Titans top as well with all the
that's
signatures.
right, signed Titans, signed Suns jersey, We've got State of Origin 2001 framed and signed by the team,
Wow.
which Kevin Campion actually played in.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. Now I have to find what to wear. If anybody's got any ideas, post it up. I don't know what to wear. I want to win best dressed. So you can still get tickets, guys. It's at the Aquas Park, home of the Gold Coast Turf Club. And if you want to get tickets, you can go onto our webpage, www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au, and there's a picture of the horse. The horsey's up the top like this. So you just click on it, and you can just purchase your tickets on there. You can do it by PayPal, direct transfer from your bank account, or you can contact Brett himself here on that flyer. You'll have his number. Give him a call, or Vanessa here at the office, and say, let them know that you want to purchase tickets and you want to come along. But it's going to be an awesome day. And I went up there to have a look over the top, and where we're sitting is right where the track is, where they finish up. Hey?
We're in the boardroom, which is the best view of the track. So
wow.
We're right on top of the mounting yard and right in front of the winning post. So we get a fantastic view. Don't forget, we've also got Tony Mundine coming from Sydney, Anthony Mundine's father, which was kind enough to come up and spend the day with us and had to be interviewed. So yeah, former champion himself.
Wow, that's awesome. Hopefully Anthony Mundine will turn up too one day. What time will the auction be? Oh yes, there will be an auction. The auction will be live streaming on this channel, guys, on Australian Anti-Ice Campaign Facebook page throughout the day. We can't give you the times yet right now because we'll have to wait till the running sheets because it's something to do with the race times.
Yes,
I don't
whenever
understand.
time. We'll be doing in between races. So once we know the times of the races. Thursday they come out before the race day, so before the Saturday, so we'll find out more then.
So is that between 1 and 4 or roughly?
Yeah.
Between 1 and 4. Keep an eye out, guys. If you want to have a look, we've done a little video, a promo video about some of the auction items that are going to be available. It is on our Facebook page, so have a look at some of the items, and if you want to bid on the items and if you can't be there on the day, I understand, but partake in the auction, guys, because that you can help as well, and all the proceeds are going back to help us educate more youth, more people in the community about the dangers of ice, and also help people that are in addiction create a pathway out into recovery. AAIC do family support as well as buddy peer support and education, so that's what the funds are going back to, and Brett and his team with Sean and Christy and Helga have put together this amazing event, and everybody that's participating in it has been part of making the difference and helping us raise funds and awareness about what we do and how we can help people out there. So if you want to help, there is a way that you can help. You can come onto the Facebook page and bid on the auction items, or you can buy a ticket, and come along to the event and come and sit with us and have a great day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So was there
day.
anything else that you wanted to say that I've forgotten here?
No, we've pretty much touched base on it. There'll be many more prizes, just too many to actually speak about. But
there's raffles and
door
prizes.
There'll be silent auctions. There'll be it'll be full on day, and it'll be entertaining day. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Brett, thank you so much.
That's
and
right.
Thank you to KB Supplies for the amazing work that they do with AAIC. We really couldn't do without them. They are one of our strong supporters, and they see the work that we do, and we're really grateful for the support.
No problem.
You.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brett, for being on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. So I have a couple of things that I need to mention. So we did the race day and the items. Just want to do a big shout out to one of our corporate sponsors as well, Document Solutions. So if you don't know Document Solutions, guys, you really need to get to know them. They are amazing. Colin Wheeler down there, he sponsored a printing machine for AAIC here in the office, photocopier and printer. They do all the, they supply the printers for companies and businesses, and they look after it, they service it, and they supply all the ink and everything. They have been absolutely amazing and printing off stuff for us that we need, flyers and information that we do give out to people in relation to outreach. We're really, really grateful for, they've been with us for about a year now. So if you need any printing done or you're looking at getting a new printer for your workplace, contact Document Solutions. They are amazing to deal with, and they really care about your community because they're worried about this ice problem, yeah, and they want to protect the next generation with us. So thank you so much to Document Solution for all the amazing work that you do in contributing to the cause. We're really grateful. So without further ado, guys, I'd like to bring the camera over and I'd like to introduce you to one of our new presenters, and buddies, and he's an amazing part of the team here, and he comes in and helps out in the office and is part of the AIC family. So we're really, really blessed to have him on board, and we know that every day that he contributes in here makes a difference to a life. So David, thank you so much for coming in today, and it's a big deal, mate, when you get to share. It's one thing coming in here and working with people one-on-one, but to actually share live, it is a big deal. So I'm really grateful, and I know that a lot of people out there are grateful that for any information that you can share that will help them understand addiction, and specifically ice addiction, but addiction and what happens to somebody that they love, or somebody that they know, what they're going through, so that they can understand and be able to help. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here.
So guys, this is David. Give him a big yell out, say hello, send him love, send him kisses, send him thumbs up. It's really nice to feel the love, because it is, you're in front of a camera and you're sharing your stuff, So want him to feel the love tonight. So David, talk to me. Man, like I've got to know you over the last few weeks, and you've been coming in and helping out so much with the team stuff, but I just couldn't picture you, as one of those crazy people on the news, on the TV that, are bashing people and crazy. You're just so gentle and soft-spoken and sweet. You couldn't look at you and say, this guy's an ice addict. No, what happened, man?
Yeah, it's, well, I believe that, as a child, I was sort of, when I came into the world, ever since I could remember, I had a kind of a nervous disposition. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I was always looking for, a distraction of some sort. And then when I was in, before I was even 10, I started to, hang out with people that sometimes were older, sometimes in around my year, and to experiment with things, anything that somebody had, I had an interest in, wanted to try it. I thought that I was reaching out in a way that I didn't know what was healthy, what was unhealthy. I didn't have any life skills at that time, and when I stumbled into the chemical world, and it was it made me feel different, and it made me forget about that anxiety, that nervousness, and feeling out of place all disappeared.
Wow.
And that progressed.
So did you start off, did you get introduced to Ice World straight away? What was your first laptop of choice?
I pretty much, when I was younger, I lived on the Gold Coast, and then when I was about 10 or 11, I moved away. I had lots of friends up here. I did lots of sports and things like that, and it was never really good at anything, kind of in a way I was one of those kids a lot of the time, especially being very short, that was picked last for the, when the kids were picking the teams. I pick you, I pick you, and I took that in and held on to experiences like that, and then
as we do though, we all do it.
Yeah.
We all hold on to, I remember stuff when I was, 7 and 2, it's just ridiculous. But I can't remember you know, what happened last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we remember those moments, don't we? And we kind of allow that to snowball and make it mean something, and before you know it, it's a big issue, you know.
Yeah, well, I was, you know, I took on the, you know, the class clown, the person. I wanted to be different. I wanted to stand out. I was always hungry for attention, because I felt that I wasn't enough, just being a normal kid, and so, you know, I gravitated towards the people that were, you know, doing the same thing, that felt the same, because that's what I felt comfortable around. I had some very, very nice, you know, good, solid friends, but they, as I started to progress into smoking pot, into drinking at an early age, I moved to a country town when I was about 10 or 11, and from there I had a resentment against my parents
For taking you
for taking me away from all of my friends, from taking me away from what I was comfortable with, and having to start all over again. I lived quite a distance away from even the closest shop, which was, you know, the general store up the road was my, you know, where I'd go and hang out and play arcade games and stuff like that. And it was, you know, it was all part of my identity, and I felt as though my identity was stolen when I went to the country town. So I thought, well, you know, stuff this. I'm going to show you guys, you know, and I progressed into, like I said, smoking leaf, drinking, you know, drinking goon. I started to get into trouble with chemical use at school, with the police, getting suspended, and then halfway through year 9 got expelled from all the state schools in Australia, all the public schools in Australia, and it just progressed from there. And at that time, you know, I was shaking my head. I didn't know why was this happening. Why am I the one out of the 3 brothers who is having so much trouble in life? And I was trying to search, and through my own self-sufficiency and through not having somebody there to tell me and inform me about what was really happening, as we're trying to do with the youth these days, you know, and give them a heads up about what's coming, you know, because you know, I started to use smaller chemicals. Party drugs was especially what I was always after, you know, mushrooms, and all that stuff. And then that progressed up until, you know, until I turned 18. I got my piece of plastic, you know, my license, and thought, this is my license to be able to just go nuts, you know, live with my parents, and just put them through hell, you know, with all the trouble that I'd already had previous. You know, like I would pick up a chemical, and if it was available for a long period of time, then I was gone for that long period of time, you know, and until, you know, and the number of times my parents had, you know, the police looking for me when I didn't come home, you know, all through school, even in primary school. I'd go and stay at a friend's place, and his dad was a jazz musician, and he'd go out performing, and I'd go to his place, and I wouldn't tell my parents, and, you know, we'd get into his change, into all his grog in his grog cabinet and all this stuff, and I didn't realise the dangers of what I was delving into. With these other drugs, they say that there's you know, that drugs are a gateway to other drugs, but I would go on what the drug would give me, as to whether I wanted that more than something else. So I progressed through, you know, through acid, through ecstasy, through into and then into amphetamines. This was always mixed with drinking, where any kind of a right-minded thinking that I had, any rationality in my thinking, once I'd pick up a drink, was gone, and then it would be, you know, let's get onto something, let's get something, and you know, the base the speed as powder, snorting, all that stuff, and it all progressed and progressed and progressed until until I was in a position where I had started doing jail terms due to assaults that that really just filled me with shame, and they weren't part of me. Those kind of things aren't the person that I am in my heart.
No,
you know.
definitely not. I couldn't see you assaulting anybody today. I mean, you're just, like I said earlier, you're just so gentle and soft-spoken and, calm and, compared to us all loud in here going, running around, you just bring this peace with you, and I just can't, in my mind, see that in you, but that's what, these substances aggravate the serotonin in your brain, the chemical imbalance, induce, that anger, the violence, the spontaneous reaction, and you can't control it. It does take over your being because your brain is being taken over by these substances and depleting the chemical balance in your brain. So that's what you hear a lot. People on ice, they end up in violence, and they end up in prison, and from stealing, from whatever. But there's often a lot of violence because of the serotonin depletion in the brain.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily who the person is.
No.
It's the chemical imbalance that induces that.
No, yeah. It's for me, it was turning to the addiction that was feeding the things like toxic shame, the confusion, and the pretty much resentment against being. I just didn't. I'd gone from a child as trying to live life and be happy with just playing outside, with riding my bike, whatever it was, to having to grab things that were actually and put them into my body to get away from that toxic shame, that shame, guilt, remorse, that regret that I felt, and that lack of self-esteem, and that I wasn't enough, that this is never going to change, and I'm always going to be like this, and I'm all, one of the things that I share about when I'm at meetings a lot is that I just wanted to make my parents proud, because for me that always seemed like an impossibility, because I would give them hope, I would give myself hope, and I would stay clean and sober, and then I would fall, and I would think, okay, this is the way it's always going to be, and all of that hope that I gave, that I had in myself, all of that hope that I gave them, and that peace and that break from the craziness, was really, all it was is I just wasn't putting chemicals in my body. I wasn't arresting my disease. My disease is, is part of a mental. It's a mental defect in the brain. And as I go further, mental illness is part of my story because of that confusion, that angst, that just anguish and sorrow that you feel when you're constantly failing and you're constantly building up things in your life, and then everything that means anything to you, when you pick up, or sometimes when you don't pick up, I was still sick, and a lot of behaviours, they were learnt behaviours. They were learnt from the world of hate that I lived in, and that's what it was. It was a pecking order. It was always a pecking order, especially when I went to jail, and that little boy inside of me didn't belong in there, and that's who, when I was sitting in a holding cell, awaiting to go back to jail or awaiting court, that's when the little boy would be, I could feel him inside, and he's like, what's going on? Why are we back here? How did this happen? Why is this happening? And that just broke me down spiritually. It broke me down mentally, and that would come out, you know, and even when I'd put the chemical down, for an addict to put the chemical down is normally when your troubles will start. And that's when you need a program and a support network, and you have to use it. It's not, if everything starts to get good and the pain wears off and you start to get this false sense of confidence, that is when you think, oh, I can just do this once. You know, I got a big paycheck or whatever it might be.
I treat myself because I've been really good, or
and that once is it brings all of that shame, guilt, remorse, that oh no, that impending doom, that you know that I've done it, I've messed up, you know, and then all of the people that love you in your life find out, and you know, and that brings them immense pain, and through their pain that you can see, that pain then builds whatever is inside of you, and it multiplies it.
Yep.
And you need more.
Yep, that's right. So that's the catch. David, you have done such an amazing job at explaining that. I haven't had anybody on the show to actually be able to verbalise what you've just explained, and I think that would be really helpful for people at home. So the anger, the guilt, the self-sabotage is just like, it's just easier to just pick up again and mask that and run away from it, and self-harm, you know. I don't deserve to, you know, I'm just an addict, I'm just a druggie anyway, I can't do this life, I can't do life. We had a conversation before where I said sometimes you just feel like you just, you know, I'm talking about me, you just can't do life, you know, why can't I do life like everyone else, you know, I'm not normal, man. Like, and this is this negative self-talk that happens, you know, and we've actually got to catch that and go, no, that's not true. That's something that has been fabricated in my mind. That's not true. I am good enough, and I am worthy of recovery, and I am worthy of living a life that I love, and living it abundantly, you know, and we are worth it. And you know, guys, if we're speaking to you out there, if you're that person like us that was, you know, entrapped in this cycle of addiction, where you keep self-sabotaging and harming and hurting yourself, because you know it's you. Yes, you hurt the people around you, but at the end, like David explained, you're the one that it all comes back. It all comes back on top of you. If you're that person, we want to tell you today that you know, you can also live a life that you love, and that you are worth it, and that you do need support, and that we needed support, and that we're here. That's what we're about. We're here to go, hey, you can do this too, and let's show you what tools we used to actually change our life, you know. And we're all perfectly imperfect. We all might falter, we all might, you know, have sometimes these thoughts, but that's where we go, hey, you know, we're here next to each other. Stop it. Don't think that. You know, I care and we're doing this together. No, I haven't been to my group meetings lately. Why not? You know, hey, I'm picking up a bit of negative talk about yourself. You know, you're talking negative about yourself. You're not doing your recovery. So we're all here as a family to help each other through recovery, and also we educate youth and people in community and about the dangers of ice and other drugs, and so that they don't have to fall down the same pit holes that we had to go through. So you can hear a little bit about David's story, how he became dependent on drugs, and what he was masking, and the self-harm that was going on, you know, and it gets deeper and deeper. You just keep digging a deeper hole. So what happened, like what took you to jail? Do you want to talk about that? You don't have to, but... You know.
Yeah, I was very, you know, was very antisocial. It's, you know, my disease took me to way before, even if I was even if I was clean, it was way before when I started isolating, when I started to feel resentment against people, when I started to nitpick and look outside of myself and problems with other people and places and things, and you know, and had, you know, and fed into, you know, the negativity that a lot of things in the world thrive on you. Like you sit there and watch the news. You know, I can't watch the news anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in watching the news.
I hear you, neither can I.
I can't. It makes me feel that you know, the positivity that the small amount which gives me so much peace sometimes, and then enables me, once I'm peaceful inside, to be able to give that to the people that I love,
Yeah.
you know, and to strangers, and to be a gentleman and things like this. My father is a true gentleman, you know, and he obviously had his problems in life, but he's somebody that people want to know, that they are glad that they meet, and my mother as well, you know, and I had that, you know, in my upbringing, and all it did when I messed things up was make me feel like, you know, sometimes I used to even think, am I adopted? You know, I've got two brothers who are fighting their way through life and have, you know, trades, all these things, you know, and I couldn't keep a job. You know, once I picked up, I would follow that path, and whatever chemical it was at the time, you know, I would want more. As soon as I had it once, you know, with most chemicals that you put in your body, which I've found at once they run out, then there's a come down, and the longer that you use or drink or whatever you do to try and stop that come down, as you put day upon day upon day together, at the end the come down is worse, and it keeps on accumulating. And that was what I was trying to chase away.
Yeah.
That oh my God, I don't want to be alone. And that's where my toxic shame was rife in me, and the anger towards life, you know, the anger towards God. You know, I'd be, you know, when I was on the streets, after about six jail sentences, I ended up on the streets in a place down near Sydney, and I was broken, and I was on a mission to use any chemical that I could put in my body until my body, you know, stopped working. I didn't have enough guts to kill myself. I don't know why. I could never do it. I certainly felt like it through and through, that yes, this needs to stop. I need to stop it, and a lot of suicides have happened to close friends of mine in some horrific ways, and so I knew that there was something, you know, that when I was on the streets, especially when I was alone, I would go into churches, and I'd go to either a church or a cinema to cry, because I felt as though I didn't want anyone to see me, because that made me feel less than again. If they saw me crying on the street with all my bags or whatever, then sometimes I'd go into rage, because I'd think, you think you're better than me, you know, I'm going to show you, you know. But it was just as the ridiculous thinking and all of that negativity that I felt in my life, and just turning it inwards and inwards and inwards, and I was just spiraling and spiraling down and down, and there really is no rock bottom, I think, until you're in a coffin, you know. There's no rock bottom. I thought, oh, that's my worst rock bottom, you know. I used to speak about it at meetings, and then I'd go out and I'd find a new one.
Yeah.
You know, they speak about it in some meetings as the yets, and they say, you know, you haven't done this yet, this hasn't happened to you yet, but if you go out there again, this is what's on offer.
Can you just explain to the people at home about meetings? When you say meetings, what does that mean? Because we know about, you know, at AIC we put people on a tripod system of support, and meetings is one of those things. So can you just talk about?
Meetings is an important part of the 12-step programs that are on offer out there. There's there's meetings for, you know, there's Methamphetamine Anonymous, there's Narcotics Anonymous, you know, there's even Cocaine Anonymous. There's so many different ones, and they all have been derived from a primary 12-step program that was developed back in around 1935 to 1940, and to go to meetings for me as a chronic addict or alcoholic is not enough. I have thought that for about the 18 years or so that I've been going to meetings. I've thought that that's enough. I'll just go to meetings. I just won't pick up, and I'll go and, you know, I'll go and I'll get fixed by listening and relating and fellowshipping with other people that are like me, that have experiences, that have, you know, the disease of addiction like me, and that wasn't enough for me. I had to, I've only just found out recently that, you know, that my pain and brokenness had to get enough for me to fully surrender. Now, before, at a lot of times I thought, okay, I've had enough, you know, going through, you know, a lot of jail sentences and you know, living on the streets, all kinds of hospitalisations, you know, violence that has been brought upon me and on other people from me, and it tears away at your soul. It's like I heard a girl once speaking about, who was a heroin addict. She was speaking about in a meeting about that there's a light inside you, and that in addiction, the things that you do for your addictions, and the way that the addiction treats you and eats away and empties you out, or some people speak of it as a hole, that light inside of her, she said, that nearly went out. Yeah. And when that light goes out, that's when I believe that, you know, that people commit suicide. Yep. And you know, that's a shocking thing. That's why part of the reason why I'm here tonight. You know, I lost my cousin a few years ago, who OD'd himself, and as to commit suicide, and him and I were like brothers when we were young. His name was David as well, and we were like thick as thieves, and you know, geographically we separated, and we went on our own way, on our own paths, you know, and it, you know, it broke my heart. I was on the streets in the same place that he was living, and when he died, and you know, and these kind of things, you know, it's like the things on a cigarette packet, they're not enough. You have to get real about recovery, and the earlier that you can arrest the disease, the less, you know, damage that's done to your body, but also the less ingrained pathways in your brain, actually the easier it is to get out of it.
Yeah, that's right, because the neurological pathways in the brain, I specifically, you know, it affects all of that. It breaks it all down and it stops working. So you have what we call it holes in your brain, right? Certain areas in your brain stop working. You have to, you know, if you stop and you manage to get out of ice addiction, you have to create new neurological pathways around those areas. It's not impossible. We've done it. We're doing it, you know. And I've actually got proof of that, because I had 1 week worth of headaches, and they thought I was going to have a brain hemorrhage, and the neurologist at the hospital said, this is not 6 months ago, they said to me, oh, you've got some serious holes in your brain, areas that switched off, but you have managed to recreate new neurological pathways. The brain can restore. It will never be the same, it's different, but it can. So I guess the longer I would have been using, the more areas would have been switched off, you know, and it's been hard enough over much tears, you know, over much pain, trying to recreate those through music, through trying to remember, and now I can drive a car without the navigator on, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, but that's taken years, you know, years and years. So, you know, I guess what you're saying is the sooner you can deal with, you know, getting help and getting, you know, stepping into a recovery plan, the better it is, isn't it, to for your body to reproduce those areas of the brain and help recover from that space. There's some people that embark on ice addiction, that they can go into psychosis the very first time you use ice and not come out. I've heard people in the mental health hospital, and then there's people like that have brain hemorrhages or a heart attack the first time or first couple of times they use ice. You don't know the impact that it's going to have on your body, and it'll leave you scarred as well. So you don't come out of Ice World unscarred. You are purposefully fighting the addiction and the cycle for the rest of your life. And I've got reminders myself. I've got kidneys and heart and reminders of stuff and areas of my life. I don't know about you, but that I don't remember. They're just blanks. It's like what? Like I don't remember people. I don't remember things. And I know that because my kids go, "Oh, Mum, remember when?" I'm like, nothing. I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So that's the damage that we have, I guess, purposefully allowed ourselves to fall into. But if you're in that space, and we know where that space is, where that world is, the dark side of the world, and you want out and you don't think you can come out, let's tell you that you do. You can. You can come out. You just need to pick up the phone. You just need to send us a message, and we want to be there to help you do that, take the steps necessary to step into recovery. And it is work. It's hard work.
Yes, it's very hard work.
But it's more painful staying in addiction. It's much more painful.
That's right. It gets worse. A lot of the time, whatever chemical you're using, your body builds up a tolerance to it, and it eventually it just stops working. Doesn't matter how much you have. All you're doing is trying to just reach the normal where you started from and went up. Eventually, you'll start at way below normal, and you'll have to use as much as you can get your hands on to get back to normal. This is where these 12-step programs are integral in your recovery, because they take your life experiences. You go through the 12 steps with a sponsor, whom that if you choose wisely, sometimes you have to choose. A sponsor might dump you. You might dump the sponsor, whatever it might be. But if you can find the right sponsor, and you can get yourself a home group, and start to feel like you've got purpose and direction, and by use of that sponsor is to take you through the 12-step program and to do it as best that you can and hold nothing back. And what that does is that trains you to be able to take somebody else through the 12-step program. And that's where you will find you'll be able to use all of those bad experiences, no matter what happened to you in the past, to, through sharing, have people identify with you, and to develop a trust, because they know that the different thing between you being able to share those experiences. It could be anything. You could be talking about jail, a certain cell block, the kitchen or something, and they'll go, that person knows that they have been there because I've been there, and that's what it looks like, or that's what it is, or anything like that. And once that they identify with you, and that builds a rapport, and that's where the fellowship comes from. We're all in a lifeboat together. Once you start to go to meetings, once you start to develop a program, and no matter how hard it gets, use your sponsor, use your support network, use a psychologist, use a counsellor, and try and get as much help as you can at the start. And whatever you do, don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. And if you do fall over, you just try and get back into recovery as quick as you can, because the longer that you're out there, the more that all of that, that old shame, guilt and remorse, that toxic thinking and all that, it snowballs.
Yep. And it's not shameful. You know, it's not shameful to reach out for help. You know, I remember, you know, in early recovery, I was like, I don't want people to know what's going on in my head. I don't want people to know where I've been, you know, and I was ashamed, you know. And so you try and do it on your own. And you know what? You relapse. You relapse until you go, you know, it's okay to ask for help. You know, we all have. And you know, there's something inside of us that we're made with, that it's by giving that we actually receive, and that's what makes us feel good inside as human beings. So there's nothing in this world that somebody that's been through what you're going through, that they haven't seen or heard, and they would love to give back because they've been given the opportunity. We've been given the opportunity of recovery, and that's why we do what we do. You know, we give back and help the next person, and hopefully you'll help the next person, and so forth, because that's how we're created. We're created to give back and to love each other and to do life. I look at like recovery like a boat.
Yeah.
And like we're rowing, like it's hard work to rowing, man, but we're going to get to that island over there, and don't fall off, David, get it back in here. And you know, and I'm like, whoa, I might go over the edge, but no, get back on here. If you get over the edge, the shark might eat you, right? But if we can bring you back on the boat quick enough, you know, we can get over to the other side, we can get over to the other island, and you know, and it's like, it's teamwork, man. It's like, you know, you hold the oars together, and 1 and 2, we go together, man. And that's what AARC is about. You know, we're a family. 12-step recovery is so critical, and so are the other 2 points I'm gonna make right now. A tripod system of support has been developed by George Patricky, uses it a lot, but clinical drug and alcohol counsellors are now more so using it more than ever because it works. So AA meetings or CMA meetings or group meetings is one tripod, one leg of that. The other 2 look like this. The other one is a drug and alcohol counsellor. Get hooked up with a drug and alcohol counsellor. Just because you've might have done a 3-month stint in rehab, you haven't finished the work. Yeah, you do need to continue that. And it took years for you to get where you are. You're not going to solve that issue overnight. Yeah, it's ongoing. We are always growing and developing and changing in our thought processes and perspectives and life. You know, people around us change. So as we change, we need to keep evolving and working with our you know, drug and alcohol counsellor and our group sessions. So there's 2 of the legs there, and the 3rd leg is a buddy. Okay, somebody that a sponsor, a buddy, somebody that has been there with you, and that has been there before you, and that can pull you up when you need to, when you need to hear, you know, hey, you're off track, mate. Let's get back to the gym, or what can I do to help you? Because I can see, you know, you're isolating. What's going on? And that can be there as a friend, okay, as a buddy, as a support person. We all need each other. That's how we were created in life. So that's your tripod system of support, that first and foremost when people come and reach out for help with us, that's what we help them get on, a tripod system of support. And then we look at, you know, what else tools can we give you to help you on your recovery journey. So at this point we're going to, I'm going to stop for a minute and ask Leanne if there's any questions in the house, please. So we're taking questions, guys, for David, and I do want to, we've only got 10 minutes to go, I do want to hear about the turning point for you, and how you managed to hold on to recovery for the time that you have. So the questions out there.
Nicole asks, can I ask how or what their clean time is?
Yep.
What their clean time is.
Okay.
And where are the 12 steps program for Redcliffe? I'll answer that one.
Awesome. So Leanne will answer in relation to the resources for Redcliffe. David, how long have you been clean for?
I've been clean, sober, gamble-free now for 93 days.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Well done. Well done. So proud of you.
93 days. It's
That's awesome.
the reason that I say that, and I'm proud of that, is because every single day I have done, I've done the program in its entirety, and in 93 days I have a piece, you know, I have a way out of the lies and the negativity and the toxic thinking that in my head it still comes, it will come, and it will be, you know, always be there tapping me on the shoulder. You know, people say that your addiction's in the background doing push-ups, you know, and it's patient and it's just waiting for you to fall. And so every day I have to go, you know, I have to go to any length to get you know, the growth. I have to keep growing. I can't just say, okay, I'm happy with what I've got and maintain that, because I need to put something better in place of where the drugs, you know, and drink was. I need to put something there that is better than I used to feel when I take that. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to it.
That's it.
You know, and that's what doing the program in its entirety. You know, 93 days. I've spent years and years and years taking bits of the puzzle out, you know, out of the program, and you know, I'll do those steps and I'll stop at step 9, and you know, I don't want to do my step 4 inventory. I don't want to tell them about a couple of things in my step 5, you know, and things like that. And I was ripping myself off. I can see it now for the first time. You know, and
and it's the beauty. You that long clean, 93.
93 days.
93 days. But you're 93 days engaged in recovery, not just abstinence. You're actually doing the work, and that you know, you can't just say I'm not going to use and I'm 90 days clean. You're not just abstaining from using, you're actually in recovery. So you are doing the work, and you're breaking it down, and you're doing the steps, and you're working on yourself. And it's catching. It's always going to be there, tapping you on the shoulder, absolutely. You know, and so many times I've been 6 years in recovery, but it still taps me, and it says, you know, you can't do life. You know, remember when you felt great? And I'm like, shut up. It's learning to catch it and going, I know what you're going to bring me. And you've only ever stolen from me, and you've only ever brought me, you know, hurt and pain, and taken my family and my work and everything that I loved away from me. Go away. You know, and you really, it's that simple, of catching it, learning to catch it and putting it into its right place, not allowing it to parade itself in front of you as something awesome, you know, because that's what it does, you know, and it's remembering it for what it was, where it took you.
Yeah, that's part of, you know, 93 days ago I was at death's door every day. Pretty much I would wake up and you know, I was wanting to just end it. It had been 31 years of serious addiction, and of some sort in you know, and most of the time multiple at a time, and you know, and I'd had enough. My soul had had enough. My spirit was, you know, as that girl said, you know, the light was nearly out, and the longer that I'd tried or been in the program, and had the awareness that there's other people in the room that have got what I want, but I can't get it, was all a lie. I could have got it if I'd surrendered fully to the program. You know, these days I'd never done it before, but these days I call my sponsor. You know, I often have, you know, fits of anxiety. You know, sometimes kind of panic attacks. Sometimes, you know, all fear-driven thoughts. You know, I can go into rage. I can go into resentment, anger, or whatever feelings that I'm feeling. I take that to my sponsor and I pick the phone up, and that's where. That one of the main differences is, because every time I speak to my sponsor, I identify my part in any problem, and a lot of it's from me wanting to control stuff, trying to me being self-reliant and self-sufficient, and go, oh, I can fix all of this, I can fix that person, I can fix, you know, my living arrangements, I can fix the people at my job or whatever, and as soon as I do that, make a mess. And
We can't fix anything.
no,
Humans, we know we can't. And I learned something today. I was listening to a podcast, David, and it said if somebody like is angry all the time, they're really angry at themselves because they can't control their own emotion, you know, and so you take it out on the next person or the people around you. So you know, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I get that. You know, you can see yourself. It's always about looking at what is it that you're trying to get by that behaviour. You know, what's the truth inside and breaking it down. So that explains it perfectly. Do you have another question?
Another question.
Yep.
Somebody's got a son who wrote in who's only just stopped a few days ago. What can they expect when you first stop?
Firstly, can I just say before David answers that, I would highly recommend that he or yourself calls in with him, calls to ARC, and we can hook him up with a buddy. That's first and foremost, because you can't do this alone. Okay. So David, do you want to answer that?
yeah, once you have, you know, I've heard it referred to as when you stop, especially, you know, it doesn't, with ice it doesn't take that long for you to, once you abruptly stop, the money runs out, you're in a cell, the drugs run out, you're isolated in a remote area, whatever that might be, your car broken down or whatever. Once you stop, it's all of the garbage from behind you doesn't stop. It comes and it hits you from behind, and so I would recommend that, you know, start to look at trying to find a balanced diet that's you probably can't eat. If you can't eat, if you're having too much trouble, if you're not in a detox centre and you're having too much trouble on the outside, then definitely go and get yourself detoxed in a facility whereby they can observe you, by medical staff can watch over you. Once you have stopped, you've done the hard part.
Yeah.
You've done the hard part, and all it is getting the support and finding how to keep going. And each individual handles the come down or the sudden breach in the addiction to, you know, in their own ways. You're going to have quite enlarged emotions, you know, and you're going to feel, you know, that there's no hope. You're going to feel, you know, get to a meeting, try and find a meeting in your local area, whether it be, you know, you can do the NA program, and DNA counselling is definitely very important. But the physical aspect of what you're going through in your detox at the moment is probably the hardest part. And make sure you get medical attention for that. If not in a detox, go to a doctor and source out some stuff.
I think that there's different aspects of early onset of recovery. You're talking about the detox, which is the physical aspect. Okay, so you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have severe depression, you're going to have suicide thoughts, you're going to have shakes through the night, you're going to not be able to sleep, so restlessness, sometimes losing your breath and stuff like that can happen in the early. I cried for 3 weeks constantly, you know, and there was all that shame, that guilt, the anger, you know, and everything was like a big washing machine. I couldn't, if you told me more than one thing at a time, I would just break down, you know. And I remember my buddy, he was like, I'm like, oh, because the bank rang, oh my goodness, the bank rang. It was like huge. And he was like, okay, I'm going to come with you to the bank and I'll talk to the bank person. Thank God. And then he came out and he said, see, they said it's all good, they're going to organise this. And I couldn't see a way out of anything. Everything was massive, and it was negative, and it was, you know, heavy. And because of everything that you go through in addiction and all the consequences that you got to face, it's like this massive wall is just tumbling down on you, and you don't know how to deal with it. So one step at a time, one moment at a time. As a parent and a support person, I encourage you to hook up with a buddy for him through AAIC. You can give us a call at head office and we can allocate that for you. Somebody that can support your son through that early stage, and we drip feed, the next step, and drip feed the next step, until before you know it, they are well on the way into recovery, and with a support network around them. It's no good going, oh, here's 10 things that you need to do. It's just overwhelming. It's just too much. They'll cave inward, and the depression is severe. You may need, like David said, some medical attention. You may need, something to calm you down, prescribed by the doctor, or you may need to be knocked out for a few days, depending on how your brain is operating. They'll do some tests, some blood tests, and they'll help support that early stages of recovery. Most importantly, hook up with a buddy, because they can help you with the resources.
Yeah. Don't isolate. Isolation is going to cause you to start to look into hanging back with, starting to go back to the old people, places, things, your haunts, and that is the most important thing, is to go and find people in the fellowship, or a buddy through us guys too. Somebody to speak to and get stuff off your chest. Tell them how you're feeling, ask them their experience, and ask them what they did when they felt that, and to put that into practice. It's going to be hard.
Yep.
You've just come off the most addictive substance on the planet, and so just don't give up. It's always going to be one step forwards, 2 steps back. Other days you'll have a few steps forward, you'll have no steps back, but it's going to be hard. And so, the support that the family gives is very important. A lot of people lose that support, and so if you have that, then utilise that, and
you step ahead, aren't you?
And just try and be as honest as you can with yourself, and project that honesty out into everyone in your support network and stuff like that. And you'll get out.
Yep.
You can do it.
You can. We've done it, and there are others that, like us, that have done it too. So you can do it. So if you can learn some tools, like what David's just shared as well, is invaluable. You can learn some tools from somebody that's been there before you, that's willing to help. And if you like getting anxiety and stuff and can't sleep, I remember I just hit the gym, man. I just wanted to let it out, hit the gym, get myself tired. It's really important too to look at the supplements you're taking. So it's important to sit in the sun, get some vitamin D. Do things that make you laugh. Do things that you remember, or that the family remember, that they used to enjoy. They might not be enjoying it right now because the dopamine supply in the brain's not there, but take them back to, for me it was music. My buddy went, you used to love singing, you used to love music, come on. And I said, I don't want to today, today I want to die. And he'd go, no, die tomorrow, today we're going to go and do this. And so he kind of kept sparking up the music inside of me from my past, and slowly my brain started to reproduce the dopamine. And but I'd hit the gym, I'd get myself so tired that I'd just knock myself out, to sleep, because I was just couldn't sleep for a long time. And look at supplements in your body, like Vital Greens. That's really, really important, to put back all the vitamins and minerals that I stripped out of your body. Look at also double strength krill oil, because it helps repair the brain. So it's really good to have that support with the double strength krill oil, so you can get that from a health food shop. And just look at eating and resting. You're going to need lots of sleep. You can't. Some people think that you're off the gear now. Go get a job and let's go. Your body has been run through a washing machine, man. It's hurting your body, your vascular system, your hearts. You're exhausted. Yeah. And just to expect someone to just get up and just have it together in a few days, it's not like that. So love yourself through it, and like David said, get hooked up, with a group, with a buddy, with a sponsor. And what I love about the ARC buddies is that they help you get a drug and alcohol counsellor. They help you get the support network around you and start to do things to enjoy life again. Yeah, it's really important. But you can do it. You can do it. We've done it, and so we're really, really proud to have David on board as part of our team and part of our family. And he's making a difference every day, not only in the lives of those in here, but also out there. So eventually your son, might want to come on board as well with us. We've got people in prison and in rehab doing the work that it takes, so then they can come on board and make a difference out there as well. Hey?
Doesn't matter where you are, you can do it. There might be a small amount of resources in some places, but you'll be able to do something to further yourself to start to work your way out of the hole.
That's it. Any other questions there, Leanne?
Nope.
We're good to go. Guys, if you do have questions, please post them up. David and myself and Leanne will be online for a bit, and we'll always answer your questions. Any time. We're always online. Leanne doesn't sleep, so she's on there 24/7.
Yeah, right.
If you have questions, please post them up. We really we have a team of clinical counsellors as well that and family support as well. I'll give you the family support number if you do need support and you're a family member with a loved one in addiction. It's really important that you have some support, okay, and to get to understand and get some tools to be able to help your loved one. That number is 0481 844 555. So 0481 844 555, or you can contact us at head office 075665 6063. We do have a team in Melbourne, in Adelaide, in Cairns, as well as on the Gold Coast, and we've got people out in WA and a few up in Hervey Bay. So we do have team members throughout Australia. So if you need some support, please get in touch with us.
Shout out to Corinne.
Shout out to Corinne.
Yeah.
Corinne, we love you. Good on you, girl. And so right down the barrel, David, if you had one word to describe addiction, ice addiction, what would that be?
I would think of saying hell before, but emptiness.
Emptiness, yeah. Guys, it's not fun, delving into ice addiction, and really all it takes is that one hit. Before you know it, you're spiraling out of control and losing everything in your life, and it's not worth it. So our message to you today is not even once. That's what NEO stands for, guys. Don't forget you can get your t-shirts or your mugs on our website. All proceeds go towards helping us do what we do, help other people out of addiction, help families, and also warn our next generation, okay, from lived experience. So that's what we do, and you can purchase your t-shirt, your mug, or your cap. Remember the hats that we have as well, they're awesome. You can do that at our shop, yeah, and you can help the cause that way as well, and stand for something that makes a difference, stand for something that matters, yeah. So not even once is our message, guys. We love you, genuinely, yeah, and we're here to help you. Have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you at the race day next Saturday, but I'll be on the show again before then. Alright, bid you all good night, guys. Not even once is our message. Let's do it. Ready? Not even once. Good night.
See ya.